Getting my driver's license in the Netherlands cost me over $3,000, and it took me about half a year just to get the thing. Yeah, it's completely different here. Hey, my name is Cartez. I'm an American living in the Netherlands, and today I just want to walk you guys through what it's actually like to get your license and to own a car compared to the States. Now, if you watched any of my recent videos, you can see from the comments that I didn't do a clear job explaining that difference. Like the US, they treat driving as something most people need to do. So the system is designed to get you on the road quickly. And the Netherlands, they treat driving as one option among many. Bikes, trains, walking. So the barriers are higher and the costs reflect that. And I've done both. I got my US license at 17 and my Dutch license this year. And I bought cars in both countries, and I'm going to show you exactly how different the experience is. Let's start with the first big shock and getting your driver's license. In America, you turn 16, you go down to the DMV, take a written test, and you pay 20 bucks, maybe 50 for your learner's permit, and boom, you're legal to practice. And here's the beautiful thing. Your mom, your dad, your oldest sibling, whoever sits in that passenger seat, you can just drive them around the neighborhood. Then you take your road test and you're 16 or 17, and pass rates are pretty high. I think 70 to 85% pass the written test and about 60 to 70% pass the road test. It's designed to get you driving. And a fun fact, I actually took driver's ed in high school as a class, and I was able to use the certificate to bypass the written and the practical exam. Now, in the Netherlands, the first difference, you can't even start until you're 18. And when I mean start, I mean like actually being in the driver's seat. The theory exam isn't some basic multiple choice test. The pass rate is around like 48%. Less than half the people pass on their first try. In the Netherlands, you cannot practice with family at all. Every single hour must be with a certified instructor where they have their own brake and clutch. And those lessons, they cost like 40 to 60 euros an hour. The average person needs around 30 to 40 hours. Like, do the math. That's like 1,200 to 2,400 euros in just lessons before you even get to the test. And then comes the practical exam, and the pass rate for that is around 52%. And if you fail, that's 280 euros down the drain. So the total cost to get your Dutch license calculates at like 2,000 to 3,500 euros. Let me put this into perspective for you. In America, I got my license when I was 16. It cost me maybe $260. And then I used the certificate to get my license. In the Netherlands, you're 18, you're investing thousands of dollars, and you're genuinely worried about if you're gonna fail that exam, because half the people do. More than half the people do. The Netherlands treats it like a serious privilege that requires serious investment and training. And it carries through to everything else about cars here. So you made it through the license process, you survived, you passed your test. Congratulations. Now comes the fun part, actually buying the car. Or I guess that wouldn't be so fun depending on how you look at it. So let's start with what you're used to in the States. You want to buy a car, you've got options, tons of them, but you pay your sales tax and it hurts a little. But I think it's around 5 to 10% depending on your state. Title transfer is completely simple. You fill out some paperwork, pay 50 to 150 bucks, and boom. And registration is another 50 to 200 bucks a year. But that's it. Now, the Netherlands. First thing you'll notice is the same car costs 30 to 50% more. And why is that? Well, buckle up here, because we need to talk about something called the BPM. And the BPM stands for Belasting voor Personenauto's en Motorrijwielen. Now, I'm not asking you guys to remember that. Just know it's the registration tax. When you register a car in the Netherlands, the government calculates a one-time tax based off of the car's CO2 emissions and its catalog value. And this isn't like a small fee. This can be 10 to 30% of the car's entire value added on top. And the government is actively trying to discourage you from buying a car, especially a gas guzzler. And electric vehicles, they pay way less in BPM, or sometimes nothing, but they still cost a lot. The main thing is you must have insurance before you can legally drive it. Whereas in the US, depending on your state, you might have a grace period or less strict requirements. Now, maintaining the car. In the US, you pay registration once a year, maybe every 2 years, depending on your state. One simple fee and you pay it, you forget about it, and that's it. And there's no separate tax. The Netherlands has something called motorrijtuigenbelasting. Road tax. It's 30 to 150 euros per month. No, not per year, per month. And you can't opt out of this one. You own a car, you're gonna be paying this one. It is based on the weight, the fuel type, and even which province you live in. And why it's so much higher than the US is because the Netherlands uses this tax to fund their infrastructure. They want you to think twice about car ownership. Okay, the next cost, which is the inspections. In the US, most states don't require annual inspections at all. Some states have an emissions test every couple of years, and it costs maybe 20 to 50 bucks. Pretty straightforward. The Netherlands has the APK. It's a mandatory annual safety inspection for any car that's 4 years or older. But here's the thing, this inspection is pretty strict. They're checking your brakes, your tire depth has to be at least 3 millimeters. They're testing for emissions, looking for rust, checking your lights, your steering, your suspensions, everything. And if you fail, you get a list of repairs that you have to get done. And the difference is the US trusts you to maintain your car, but the Netherlands mandates it. Now, this one really depends on where you're comparing. So let me be fair about this. In suburban rural America, parking is mostly free and abundant. Big parking lots, driveways, garages, it's just built into everything. But if you live in the US city, like New York, San Francisco, parking is pretty expensive. So urban Americans already get the parking struggle. But the difference in the Netherlands is that even mid-sized cities, they have expensive limited parking as well. City centers is like €3 to €7.50 per hour. And Amsterdam is the worst at €7.50. But even in smaller cities like Haarlem, Leiden, they're all €3 or €4 an hour. But here's what is genuinely different from most of America and even the cities. A lot of Dutch housing, especially the older neighborhoods, you park on the street. And even in the suburbs, you might have like one parking spot for your house, or you might share a street with your neighbors. In suburban America, even the modest houses usually have at least a driveway and often a garage. That's just the standard. And the bigger point is that the Netherlands has less parking infrastructure overall, even outside of major cities, because the country is designed around bikes, around walking and transit first. America, outside of a few dense cities, is designed around cars. But overall, you'll encounter paid parking more often in the Netherlands than you would in most of America. And the last one, you feel every single week, the fuel. In the States, gas is about $3 to $4 a gallon, depending on the state. And then it's around €2 to €3 per liter. But let me convert that for you. That's about $8.50 a gallon. But I guess now, due to what's happening in the world right now, prices are going up everywhere. It's about 13 gallons, and you're paying like €100 to €110. Yeah. But yeah, so that's the breakdown. Now, was it worth it for me to get my Dutch license? Yeah, actually, because it's valid across all of Europe, which opens up a lot of travel options. And I think that's the real difference between these two systems. In most of America, not having a car means you're pretty limited, and the infrastructure assumes that you drive. Here, not having a car is completely a viable option. Like the train works, the bike's infrastructure is excellent, and cities are built at a human scale. So if you're an American thinking about moving here, and yes, owning a car does cost way more than what you're probably going to be used to. But also, you might discover you actually might not even need one. I say start by honestly assessing how often you would actually be driving, and then decide if that investment makes sense. That's it. I hope it was helpful. Let me know, guys, in the comments what surprised you the most. And are you guys going through the process right now? I'd love to hear you guys' experiences. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.